All right, we're live. Hey guys, it's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. I've got Shelly with Two Old Crows Homestead. We've got Jake with Dog Creek Farms. We've got Eric with Porterhouse and Teal. And we've got Chuck with Homestead Medical. Uh, Chuck, go ahead and kick it off. If people don't know who you are, kick it off. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, kind of your background, and what you're doing.
My name's Chuck Peoples. I've been a paramedic for, I don't know, 28 years now. Worked in all different aspects of EMS, municipal, and then I contracted for a while. Worked internationally. I started a business, I don't know, it's coming up on 2 years, year and a half, as a result of going to Self-Reliance Festival. I was a speaker, asked to speak there a couple of times, and people kept telling me, oh, you ought to teach classes, you ought to teach classes. So I decided to do it, make money for myself instead of teaching for other people. So that's where I'm at, and I've taught all over the East Coast and stuff, and because of it, I've gotten to meet everybody that's on here right now, and I've met some great friends because of these events, just like what's getting ready to come up at the end of October.
Yeah. Eric, kind of kick it around. Tell everybody who you are if people don't know, and kind of what you got going on.
Well, my name is Eric, and I have a YouTube channel, my wife and I, Porterhouse and Teal. We both retired in 2015, and we are full-time homesteaders, empty nesters. So we have a lot of time on our hands to kind of do a lot of the things that we want to do. And we've been doing that here on our farm and decided to share some of what we've been doing, and been putting it out there on the YouTube channel. And I think it's been well received by folks. I'm grateful to be in this community. I've met every one of the people that are here in this chat as a result of getting out to these festivals. And I grew up on a farm. I learned a lot from my dad. He was a landscaper, gardener, and had an extremely green thumb. And I learned a lot of things from him along the way. And so I've always grown up growing my own food and that sort of thing. There was a very brief period of time where we moved into the city, but that was pretty short-lived. And we've been on our property now for, I think, around 23 years. We bought it in 2000, and we've got 22 acres here in Northern California. And just doing the homestead life, and glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, the big thing, we've got our festival coming up at the end of October 28th and 29th. And Friday the 27th, these two gentlemen are going to be teaching classes. They're paid classes, each one of them totally different aspect of homesteading. Eric's going to be teaching about plant yield and your permaculture planting yields. Chuck is going to be talking about Homestead Medical. It goes way beyond tourniquets, chest seals, the tactical stuff. It goes in more homestead-related injuries, long-term stuff. Chuck, kind of tell people what your class is going to encompass. They see homestead medicine, they're like, oh, okay, they have an image of what it's going to be, but kind of explain to them what's going to happen with it.
Well, it's well beyond first aid. The whole point of me doing this, and I saw a hole when I started thinking about teaching, developing classes of, all right, great, what do you do after you stop the bleed? What if you have to take care of somebody for 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months? How are you going to, manage that? So, and it was also, what if you can't get, whether it's a natural disaster, end of society, whatever it is, what if you can't get to conventional medical care? Well, people want to know, and they want to be able to take care of themselves, their loved ones, their neighbors, members of their group. And that's what it's about. We're going to go into things like what a true patient assessment is. And I know that may sound boring, but everything and all your care is based on patient assessment. We're going to go over all the different types of wounds, wound closures, really what you're supposed to do to take care of that wound, whether you clean it, how you clean it, debride it, do you leave it open, do you close it, do you do a delayed closure, the different type of closures, We're going to go into fracture management, dislocation management, and we're going to go into emergency medical stuff. What if you have somebody who has a heart attack, has a stroke, is just sick, septic, has an infection? And we're also going to talk a little bit about pharmacology. I know people have, a lot of medications and things like that for, say, like their fish, and your fish get really sick. So we're going to talk about your fish that may weigh 180, 200 pounds and is 6'2", how you're going to administer that, and what proper medications to give.
Those are called sharks, Chuck.
Yeah. Well, but which antibiotic to give for what illness? There's different things, because you may give an antibiotic, because antibiotics are developed to treat and attack certain bacteria. And we're going to go over things like that. We're going to go over also things like, a lot of people don't think about it. What if you have a dental emergency and you can't get to the dentist? Let me tell you what, a good toothache, it'll take you out. What if you have a problem with your eyes, your ears, your nose, your throat? How to manage things like that. And then we're going to talk about the true long-term care and what equipment you really need. There's a lot of stuff of, all right, well, what do I buy to truly prepare? And like I said, and just like I said to the three of you all, when you're in my class, you don't have enough gauze. And you all attacked that pretty good and bought some in bulk. So, we're going to cover all those things, but a lot of people don't realize the extent of it. And this isn't first aid stuff. This is, you're going to learn things on a paramedic level, a nursing level, even a physician level. And as you know, you all have taken the class that you probably weren't real sure what you were getting into when you took it. And then when you left, I'll let you all be the testimonial for it, of the things you learned. But it's not just for people. A lot of the things that we're going to teach are going to transfer over to your livestock. A lot of these exact same things, you're going to be able to take care of your animals doing the exact same things, using the same equipment.
Oh yeah, for sure. And all three of us, I took it, Shelly took it, Jake took it, and we all came out, it's like, hey, I didn't even think about this, or I didn't even think about that. Shelly's told me on multiple occasions, she was like, it was super well worth the time and the money to take it. So, and we can kind of dive deeper in that. Eric, tell us about your class and what you're going to do.
Yeah. My hope for the class is that it's going to be something that's for everybody, quite honestly. It's for those who may have an understanding of planting fruit tree gilds and gilding in general, and it's for those who have no knowledge whatsoever. So I want to take things and make it completely understandable for people. And we're going to do, the morning time is going to be spent in the classroom going over things like developing your soil and how important that is to basically growing all of the plants that you're going to grow. Also, plant selection is key and critical when you're doing this. However, it's something that's going to be personal to everybody. It's not just a blanket, hey, this is the list of plants that you need. And I'm going to discuss that with the folks that are in the class and try to get them motivated so that once they take it back to their house, they're going to be motivated to gild up something of their own. And the beauty of doing this is it helps to enhance your food production. That I think most people that are in the preparedness space, most homesteaders, and even those that are just backyard enthusiasts, we all kind of want to grow our own food and do it in a better way. And that's what this class is really designed to do, is to help you understand what is a gild, how to best apply it, how to prepare the site that you have. And we're going to be able to go out in the afternoon. And I believe we're going to a site that you've got chosen, Jason, that has some existing plants there that
we're still debating on the site. We might wind up doing a little bit of guerrilla gardening.
Okay.
So we hadn't 100% decided on the site yet. It just kind of depends. But yeah, go ahead, Eric. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, but we are going to be going out in the afternoon and have an opportunity to do that field work where we'll be planting some gilds so people will be able to see firsthand what it actually looks like and practically apply the things we've talked about in the morning. So, that's essentially it in a nutshell. And I, encourage anybody who's thinking about, signing up for the class, don't shy away from it, because it'll be an awesome opportunity for me to work directly with the folks that are in the class. And hopefully I'll be able to answer all the questions that they may have.
Yeah, and that's the awesome thing about these two classes. You're going to have access pretty much all day to one of these two people to ask them questions without 100 to 200 people around there. So you're going to have pretty much all day to ask personal questions. Hey, Eric, I live in so and so. What might be something that'll work here? I know this will work in California, but it might not work in Tennessee. So you've got that personal aspect of it. And these are going to be smaller classes to where there's not going to be, like I said, 200 people in this class. And it's going to be hands-on. If you've never planted a tree before in your life, you're going to leave with the knowledge of how to take that tree that you bought and hopefully not kill it and get it in the ground with all the accompanying plants with it. And it's an awesome class to go. I've been to a class and I took it, came back here, and we put in a monster food forest. And just like with Chuck, you're going to have access to him pretty much all day to ask him questions. Hey, Chuck, should I buy suture kit or should I do staples? This is my skill level. And he can answer that based on your skill level instead of, in a class of 300 people when he's giving a speech, and you got question and answer. He might get to your question, he might not. And he can spend some time with you and find out your situation. What's your skill level? And there's a lot of what ifs in both of these aspects that if you just come to a festival, there's thousands, hundreds of people walking by. He can't pay tons of attention right then. But with these two classes, you're going to have that personal one-on-one attention with people.
Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of excites me about it, is just the intimate, nature of the classes themselves, because there isn't, like you said, a tremendous amount of people that are even going to be allowed to come into the class. So, I look forward to that. And having that one-on-one time with the students that are in the class, it's really important.
Yeah, I that's what I enjoy. I enjoy teaching these classes, having the one-on-one. And then the most important thing is when you're learning a new skill, adults learn better by doing. They're tactile, learners. So I want you to put your hands on the equipment. I'm going to have all the equipment. Shelley wanted to know what it was like to actually staple skin. Jason wanted to know what it felt like to get staples without any lidocaine, anything like that. So Shelley stapled Jason. And it's not bad and it's easy. And, a lot of people, that's my other philosophy. And I always get, hate comments for this, but medicine's not rocket science. It's skill and knowledge. And the whole thing I want to do is pass on the things that I've learned in 28 years of doing this, and pass on some of the knowledge that I have and the skill to people so they're prepared and they're better prepared and they feel more comfortable. Because a lot of people right now, they don't have a Band-Aid in their house. And there's a certain way you actually put a Band-Aid on that 90% of the people don't even know. And it's, a lot of people have an IFAC. They have a pressure dressing. They have wound packing gauze. They have a tourniquet. Probably a lot of them still have the tourniquet in the package. But as you all learned, there's a certain way to put a pressure dressing on. There's a certain way to pack gauze. All of these things. And it's showing that technique so you're confidently prepared. That's my whole goal.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I would add that Eric mentioned about his class that I would add about Chuck's class is you don't need to have any medical knowledge, to take Chuck's class. I called Jason before the class and I was like, I don't know anything, I don't want to mess the class up or slow it down. And, so I think that's something, if you're nervous about taking a class, or if you have no background, no knowledge, don't be afraid to sign up for the medical class. That's how you learn. Chuck starts at the beginning and, you walks you through everything. So I think that's a key thing to mention about Chuck's class also.
I mean, my biggest only thing that I'm going to regret about teaching my class is that I've got to miss Eric's class. If you've never, and that's the truth. I mean, I'm very excited to teach, but if you've ever had a chance to talk to Eric, like I'm pretty sure when Eric pulled up for the first Reliance or Self-Reliance Festival, I think I was one of the, if not the first, but one of the very first people to talk to. I had no clue who he was.
Yeah, you were the first.
Oh, yeah. He said,
Yeah.
I just drove from California, and then I knew who it was. And, and I'm going to say this, and I've said it before and made comments. You can't help but learn from just talking with Eric. I keep calling him, he's a walking encyclopedia, and I savor every second I get anytime he's talking, just to discuss things with him, because he's just a wealth of knowledge of the homesteading and the plant getting, all of it. You just can't. And plus, he's a great guy. I just enjoy talking with him. And
you're far too kind, man. You're far too kind. No, I appreciate that, man. That's awful nice of you to say. And I think it's really important that people invest in themselves. I think that a lot of times we sit along the sidelines and we say, oh, well, maybe I'll go to that, or and you come up with excuses as to why you can't do something. And I found myself doing that. And at one point I just said, you know what? I'm going to commit to going this, because there's a lot of people that I've seen on the internet, and I'd like to get to meet some of them, and I'd like to get to learn from some of them. And so I committed to going down to Self-Reliance Festival. And yeah, you're correct, Chuck. You were the first person. I think you were sitting there talking with John's boy, were you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got out of my car and I went over and had a few words with you guys. And I was new in Tennessee, but I've been down there now a second time. And I went back down there to speak in March, I think it was, the last Self-Reliance Festival. And it's just a great thing to do. I can't encourage people enough to actually invest in yourself. And by taking one of these classes, you're doing that, because you're gaining some knowledge. And even, as I said before, even if there's things that you know about this already, there's still going to be things that you take away from this. You're going to take away the knowledge that somebody else can share with you and their perspective on how to do something. But you're also going to gain that relationship with that person. And I think that's one of the more special things that you get out of going to these festivals and investing in yourself. So yeah, I'm again looking forward to, having the opportunity to spend time with people, and I'll do my best to answer whatever questions you may have. I don't profess to be an expert in any of this, and I continually learn. I'm a lifelong learner, and I really enjoy learning, but I also enjoy teaching. So that's why I agreed to come down and share my knowledge and put this class on. And I look forward to it.
And that's the awesome thing. And I've taken a gill planting class, and I've taken Chuck's class. They both give you actionable things that you can do when you get back home. I was excited after I took the gill class. I called Shelly and I'm like, hey, this is awesome stuff. And Shelly's like, tell me about it. So I told Shelly about it. We came back to my place and did an actual gill planting class and taught some of our members. I've got a thriving food forest. I went down there before we got on here. It's almost October, and I've still got strawberries coming in. So we'll probably tomorrow pick a few straggler strawberries. But we built the soil. It was nothing but red clay, and you can dig down now, and the soil's getting loose. There's earthworms. We've got blueberries that came in this year. It's amazing. And you can take this knowledge that you gain in this class and go home. If you live in the South, Kentucky, Tennessee, something like that, once you go home, you can still get these plants. And the fall and the wintertime is the perfect time to put a lot of these in. So as soon as you leave the festival, you can get your stuff and put it in the ground for spring. Chuck's class. I had a lot of medical equipment and stuff like that, but it opened my eyes on a few things that I didn't have. So we got together with a bunch of us, put in a bulk order, and did that actionable stuff. And still working on that. I'm still working on my guilds and stuff like that. So it's all actionable stuff. It's not a death by PowerPoint thing or anything like that where you're like, oh, great, I spent this money to hear about how you can theoretically do this. I can go home and do this tomorrow. And that's the awesome thing about the classes.
Yeah, the thing I also wanted to point out, I may have mentioned it already, but I just want to reiterate the fact that you don't necessarily need to be somebody who has 40 acres or 5 acres or 3 acres. You can put a guild in if you have a backyard and a front yard. So this applies to anyone who has any amount of space where they might want to plant something like a tree and then companion plant around that to support that tree. And, we're going to talk about that. And you'll have the ability to, once you leave the class, go home and to make some of those decisions for yourself, regardless of whether or not you're a big homesteader with all this acreage or you're somebody who lives in the suburbs and has a home.
I mean, you can put a substantial amount of trees along a fence row in a backyard in a subdivision. I mean, you could get, depending on how big your yard, you could probably get 4 to 5 trees with a lot of accompanying plants right there in the backyard along the fence, couldn't you, Eric?
Yeah. You bet.
Shelly, you're awful quiet.
Well, you keep talking.
All right, I'm going to stop. I'll let y'all talk.
If you're watching this and you don't know what we're talking about, first of all, you can go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com and check out our website and find out about these classes and everything. But I want to, if you're somebody that when we say, like a tree guild or a plant guild, and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Even so it's kind of a permaculture concept, I guess. And the whole idea behind it is to work with nature and mimic nature, what nature does. And Eric's going to teach you how to do that. That guild is something, it's a building block. And once you learn how to do that, you can continue to build it and work with nature and provide food for your family. And that's what's so amazing about it. It's one of these things that once you get it up and going, you can let it do its thing, and it will do its thing on its own without much intervention from you. So, and it's also one of those things that if you have a limited amount of funds, then you can do it in small chunks. It doesn't have to be, lots of money that you're investing in and putting this food forest or this plant guild or tree guild or whatever together. It's something that can be built over time. And Eric's going to show that to you. It's truly the greatest part of sustainability, to be able to put this in place and be able to live off of it. As far as the Homestead Medical class, Jason and Jake and I took this class. It'll be almost a year ago. Wasn't it January at the beginning of this year, I think?
February.
And okay, so no joke. We have had 5 things happen on our homestead that I utilized the skills that Chuck taught me in that class. And I did not have to take people to the ER. And that's pretty stinking awesome to me. And one of them was on me. I nearly cut I cut into my thumb all the way to the bone. Any other time I would have been like, I have to go get stitches or whatever. Nope. I used the skills that Chuck taught me, and I fixed it myself and took care of it myself and tended to it myself and all of those things. And, of course, like if it's something major, then yes, we're going to go to the ER, because right now we're still at a time that we can do things like that, that kind of thing. But I'm just thankful because now I have a better understanding of how things work and what causes things and that kind of thing. And even to the point where one of the things that he emphasized in that class was just being able to calm down and think rationally when things happen. And I've just gotten better with that. Just, being able to stop and say, okay. And I've even like in my mind thought, okay, what did Chuck tell me? And maybe it's that I have to count to 10 and calm down. But it's well worth investing in yourself to do this. I cannot stress enough how just being able to take care of those emergencies when they happen, or those things when they happen, and then being able to be sustainable and provide for yourself, and both of these classes that these guys are doing, it's necessary.
There, Chuck, there's a bracelet. What would Chuck do?
There you go. What does that do?
That's real
Yeah,
dependent on the situation.
I could have saved myself probably a lot of money had I been more prepared earlier this year. I wound up cutting my hand with a cutoff saw, and I looked down at it and I thought I saw tendons and bone, and I thought, oh, I think I should go to the emergency room. And so that's the decision that I made. And it turned out it was the wrong decision. I could have handled that myself had I been better prepared. And, I still need to get with Chuck regarding stapling and some of those wound care issues. Yeah. And so based on
Not
the
on me this time.
weekend, you could probably teach me that.
I'll,
As Chuck said, none of this stuff is rocket science, but at the same time, you have to have a basis from which to say, is this within my scope, or is this above my skill level? And so having that knowledge of taking Chuck's class and being able to assess something like that and saying, well, hey, I can clean this out. I can use antiseptic. I can assess to see whether or not I have good range of motion. Is there any tendon damage or anything that's necessary or muscular damage that needs, intervention surgically? Other than that, I could have done that myself, cleaned it up and stapled it. They charged me a lot of money, and the dude did a really shitty job.
Wow.
Imagine that. He was a professional, and he probably should have put in about 6 stitches, and he gave me like 3. And so now I got like this like Frankenstein little scar on my finger, which whatever. I'm not a hand model. I don't worry about that. But I could have saved money, and I could have saved time. And had this been a true emergency where there wasn't access to the hospital,
Yep.
what would you do? Right? What would you do? And that's the question that I think everybody listening to this should be asking themselves. What should you do in that situation? Would it be nice to have that knowledge and maybe invest in yourself and learn that skill? That's what I need to do.
Well, I think the importance of not just my class, but also Eric's, people kind of overlook at this in their preps. They want to do the cool guy ninja stuff, and they want to buy, the weapons and the ammo and the tanks and the F-35s, and they want to, they're going to buy a lot of food to put back, and canned food and even freeze-dried stuff and all this. But here's the thing. At some point, that's going to run out. And if you don't take a class like Eric's, where you can grow your own food and do those things, I think these are 2 skills that are grossly overlooked, especially medical, because which one are you more likely to use? All the firearms and ammo you invest in? And believe me, buy it. I'm all for it, but I promise you're going to use medical, whether it's something small or something big. You're going to use medical. It's going to happen. And I believe Jake was even mentioning today he saw taking his son to school. I think you said something. There was a car wreck.
It was interesting. I was taking Grant to school, and there was a 5-car. Cars 30 feet off the road, and both sides, stuff everywhere. And the police weren't even there yet. Nobody was there. And Grant, who is 16 now, he's practicing driving. He'll be driving soon, and we're driving through there, and he's like, well, are you going to stop? I go, no, we're not going to stop, because I don't have the first aid kit in the car. You don't have a first aid kit in your car, and we can't help. So there's no point in us getting in the way. And he's like, why don't we have that? And I'm like, well, yeah, we should, but I traded my car in, so everything got cleaned out of it. We don't have another one for your car once you start driving. And Grant got to meet Chuck at SRF, and that was he was just turned 16, and he was very interested. Chuck, walked him through a lot of stuff, and I'm sure Grant will be, with me when we are in Kentucky. But I told him, I'm like, this is why you need to learn the stuff that Chuck's teaching. I said, because it can be anytime, anywhere. The chances are good at some point you're going to need to know medical. And I just thought it was a kind of a crazy timing with this tonight, and talking to you that happened this morning, and we were unprepared. And I told him, we're not going to get in the way because we're not going to help. So we're not just going to stand in the middle of the road like 6 people were already doing. But I don't think anyone's prepared.
That's the thing. One of the other people that all of us know who have met through SRF, Dean, from survival tips and other stuff, he talked last year. He just he was going to the grocery store and came up on something, saw somebody laying on the ground, and thought somebody passed out, had a heart attack. There's some people standing around. I believe he said a police officer had just gotten there. He got out. Turned out it was a guy who was accidentally shot with a .22 rifle. He had a .22 rifle in the back seat of his vehicle. He was loading groceries in. His dog got all excited, jumped from the front seat to the back seat, and somehow triggered that weapon, and it shot him in the chest, and he ended up expiring at the hospital. I mean, it was just one of those injuries where he could have been sitting on an OR table in front of a surgeon and wouldn't survive. But here's the thing. Dean was the only one, including the police officers, who had equipment and the knowledge. And he acted and tried to help this person who he didn't know. He was just going to the grocery store to pick up something. So
he was shot by his dog. Holy moly.
So, I mean, it's little accidents like that. It's not that, I tell people carry a tourniquet every day. And they're like, well, if you carry a firearm, carry a tourniquet. Because guess what? Those bullets can come back at you too. But the other thing is, how many of you work on your homestead by yourself? How many of you are using a chainsaw, an axe, a shovel, stuff like that? All of that, chainsaw, axe, shovel, I've used and put tourniquets on people from accidents at home because of that. Just walking through little things. So this is why you need to be prepared medically and have something. And Jake, I happen to know a guy who could probably set you up with some vehicle med kits.
Yeah.
But all of those things is being prepared. And as Eric says, invest in yourself. Don't you want to take care of your family? You want to take care of your neighbors, the people in your group, or just you come up on something horrible to where you could help. And it's also the same thing with Eric. Learn how to feed yourself, make yourself better, invest in yourself and your family. Like I said, my only disappointment about this whole festival is I'm teaching at the same time Eric's teaching his class. I wish I could kind of morph into two so I could take his class.
Yeah, this isn't the class that I'm going to be putting on. I really do want to focus on soil development and building your soil, because I think that's the foundation of all of this that we're talking about. And so I want to give you some practical knowledge and some understanding of how best to do that. Because again, it's not just taking a fruit tree, throwing it in the ground and putting a bunch of plants around it. There's a lot more to consider when you're talking about putting in a guild, ultimately developing a food forest from that guild. But before you do that, you got to start with the foundation. And that foundation, even if you don't want to grow a guild, you're going to get the knowledge of how to take care of your soil, because you might want to grow some carrots, or you might want to grow some beets or some lettuce or something else. And so you're going to get that from this class. I really do think that's super important, and I'm going to key on that. And if there's any, again, questions that you have, I'm going to try do my level best to get them for you. But yeah, I think that's very, very important for all of us, just from a preparedness standpoint. Food production obviously is hugely important. And the more that we know about being able to provide for ourselves, the better we're going to be. Medically, again, it's huge. I have a background in medical emergency medicine. I was a firefighter for 30 years. So I've been an EMT and, been to countless traumas and all kinds of things from an emergency response. But even when I'm a civilian, I've had times where I've had to use that. I've seen a couple of different times people have had heart attacks and coded in front of me. And if you're not prepared, you have to wind up doing kind of as Jake did, which no fault of your own, because you realized you would have been in the way. So you just kind of just said, well, we're not going to involve ourselves. But had you been needed, it would have been awful nice as a citizen bystander to help somebody and impact their lives in a positive way. So having that medical stuff on you, having the knowledge on how to use it is tremendously valuable. And it's one of those things that if you have, like, there's certain things we train on a lot on a regular basis, and medical's one of them. Firearms, if you're going to have firearms, you should know how to use them. Those sort of things are repetitive things that just never gets old, because there's never too much that you can learn in that regard. So I imagine, Chuck, your class is going to be pretty extensive. There's an awful lot to cover medically. And, again, I would like to sit into that class, because even though I've been doing responding as a person who has medical knowledge, again, you can never learn too much, because you're going to get it from somebody else who has a different experience, and they're going to be able to share that. So I wish I could be in your class, dude.
We even had, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We had someone, the class that Chuck came and did for us, we had a woman that was in our class that is an ER nurse. Like, that's her job right now. She's an ER nurse. And when she was even saying in that class, because they're trained with, like, they have all these tools, these automated things that do all of the things, check vitals and all of that kind of stuff. She said that she hadn't, like, done somebody's blood pressure with a cuff. She couldn't even remember the last time she did that. And there were all kinds of things in that class that she was learning, that she was like, I remember talking about this in nursing school, but I haven't done it in so many years. I forgot, and so it's very beneficial.
One more thing I want to bring up is, even though that I've been an EMT and I've responded to, countless emergencies, it's different than what Chuck's going to be teaching you, because I'm there to deal with it until the next level of medical authority can relieve me. And so we never get to really follow that person to the hospital. And then from that point, you never get a chance to follow up beyond that. So Chuck's going to take you from the point where you may not have that next level of higher medical authority. And what do you do? How do you clean and prepare that wound for long-term care? Things like that I don't get as a fireman or a person even working, on the ambulance. They don't get that. It's just quick, pass them on to the next person.
Yep.
What if you don't have the next person to pass them off to?
Well,
that's where Chuck comes in. So again, that's a very valuable class to raise your game quite a bit. Like I say, I wish I could be in that, because I know you've got a lot of knowledge to pass on, Chuck.
Well, that's the thing. I worked many, many years in municipal EMS, and I'd get a patient. We'd be with them 15 minutes, 30 minutes at top, pass them off, or fly them in a helicopter, whatever. I really learned a lot of this stuff because of interest, but then I started working when I worked in remote rural areas overseas and stuff, where I was the highest trained medical person there. I was the village doctor, so to speak, or I had to take care of somebody because we couldn't get them evac for 2 days or 3, or we were in such a remote area. All my equipment was literally on my back that I could take care of somebody with. So I learned a lot from there, and I'm just passing that knowledge over from actual experiences that I've had. And then I've also taken a lot of extra training, because like Eric, mentioned, Shelley mentioned too, I've taken some of the same classes 3 and 4 times from different instructors, and I've learned, and I always have that aha moment with each different instructor, because they'll key on something or say something. It's like, oh, I've never seen it done that way, or oh, I never thought of doing it that way, or look at it from this angle. So I think it's extremely important. As Eric, and as you know, for as long as you did it as a firefighter and EMT, medical skills are perishable. You know, you got to learn how to do it. And I'm going to teach people, you know, just like Shelly mentioned about all the automated stuff. Yeah, but you're going to learn how to do a manual blood pressure. You're going to actually learn how to use a stethoscope. And it's not just sticking it in your ears and throwing that bell up on somebody's chest. You're going to learn how to manipulate it and all the things you could do with just a stethoscope, just like I taught them. And Jake will tell you, I like having people who have no medical. He even came to me for the start of class and went, hey, look, I have zero experience. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I told him, good. I like that because I want you to learn and see. And Jake will tell you, it honestly, once you get the skill and knowledge, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable doing these things and feeling more confidently prepared.
Well, and if you want to get prepared or you want to buy stuff, I mean, if I would have bought stuff before I took the class, I mean, I wouldn't probably have very little of what I actually have now that I bought, because I mean, taking the class gives you resources. I mean, for one, Chuck will tell you where to buy it, but for two, like you're not just buying, like you're not just going on Amazon or going somewhere and just buying random stuff. You're learning what you need, you know, stuff that might be multi-use, you know, that maybe you're buying this instead of that because you can use this two different ways. You know, it might be a little more, but you don't have to buy two things. I mean, you just learn all that. So you're learning the application, but you're also learning, you know, what to buy, how to use it. And
yeah, that is the big thing. You'll actually learn. And Chuck, you can get to people and show them what they need, whether they need to buy this or whether they need to buy that, or this is a waste of money and you can do two things with this as opposed to buying one specialty thing.
All the participants in the class are actually going to go home with a list of what I call the Homestead Medical Kit. So it's a good basis of what you would need. Number one, a lot of the things we do in the class, but also to keep you prepared. And it's not just, again, the cool guy ninja stuff. You need that stuff because that's the stuff that you're going to die unless you treat in 5 minutes. But it's also going to do the other stuff, you know, of the long-term care of what you need, you know, and, you know, and yeah, I think there is a video. I think Skane's girl just said there's a video out there floating around. I think getting stapled, but I'm going to show you how to use the staples, and you're actually going to be surprised where most people think, oh, I've got to be sutured. No, you don't. You know, most sutures are for one reason and one reason only. It's cosmetic. A lot of the same laceration stuff that you have can be done with a staple. Will you have more of a scar? Yeah. Are there some that you do need to know how to suture? But suturing is an art, and it's not something you can learn. That's all by itself. That's almost a day-long class. You know, I could do it in half day, a down and dirty, but there's a lot to that. But I can also show you many different ways, and I can show you how to do modified sutures where you're not actually piercing the skin. I've got a little thing I'm going to show in class for that, which you all didn't get to see in your class. So you're going to have to come by and watch at least that part. I'm going to show you.
Scars are cool.
Right. Chicks dig scars.
Man, that must be pretty cool.
Look, Eric,
I fall down a lot, man.
Hey,
well,
Eric, you and Chuck, we've been trying to advertise this thing on Facebook and on y'all's classes, and it keeps getting rejected. And I'm like, Shelly, why are these things getting rejected? These two things, it's a picture of Chuck talking about his medical class, and then there's another one of Eric, a picture of Eric talking about his class. And
no, it's not the video. It's not the picture with the videos of them talking. It's just pictures of them that they sent us to put on the website. That's what's getting rejected.
Yeah, and it gets kicked back because of sexual nature. So y'all two are the sexiest bastards on the internet, is what it is.
No joke, man. They keep sending me pictures of what's acceptable and what's not. And what's not, I see why it's not acceptable. Neither one of y'all are eating bananas or half naked or whatever, and I don't understand what is happening here.
So I was afraid when y'all were going to be on here live with us tonight that we're going to break the internet, being the two sexiest guys around together.
Right?
I mean, for Eric, I'm sure he gets that all the time. I mean, you know, he is a hero. He's that firefighter. You know, he's a professional firefighter. So yeah, that's
I'm
automatic
retired.
hero there.
Yeah, so that is. I mean, y'all are the two sexiest guys on the internet right now.
Wow.
I'm sure there's other reasons. They may be using that as an excuse, but I'm pretty sure we know what the real reason is.
What platform is that on? Is that on TikTok?
That's on Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Yeah.
TikTok will let you get away with pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So, well, see, we should have just streamed it on TikTok, and then we could both be eating bananas, and you know we'd be fine.
or dick eggs.
Oh my gosh, y'all ain't right.
So
yeah, I'm looking for it, and if people don't know, if you've never been to any type of a conference or a festival like this, my life when I went to the first SRF, I don't know how long ago, and it was like what Eric was mentioning earlier. I didn't know anybody, and it was in John's garage. It was there in the garage of the building, and it was maybe 100, 150 people. I didn't know anybody showed up, and now, honestly, all my friends, like people I consider close friends, are all from this community, from all the different parts, and the people I talk to, and just like the four of you that are on here, I learned something from watching your YouTube channels and talking with you. I mean, all of you, I've learned something. I enjoy it. Jason and I talk a three times a week. You know, I consider Jason a very good friend. I mean, I consider all of you all friends. But all the people who are close to me now that I really consider that I and even my mentors for my business and where I'm trying to aspire to be in preparedness wise and just lifestyle wise are all from this community. So that's what you're going to gain. It's not just the classes. It's meeting people and building that and making those connections, because it'll literally change your life. Because of all this, I've started a business. It's changed my life completely. I'm the happiest I've been in years because of it.
And you're moving to Kentucky.
Yeah.
You'll be even happier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment 100%. And that was really my goal in going to SRF the first time. I mean, I intended on learning some things, but my goal was really to meet people. And I felt so much satisfaction leaving there. I was so motivated when I left there to go home and to do things. I, at that time, really hadn't really done much with my YouTube channel. And as a result of watching one of the speakers at the Self-Reliance Festival, I said, you know, maybe I should try this too, because he was talking about content creation. And so that was one of the things that motivated me by going there. And I had no idea when I drove out there that that's something that I had intended or wanted to do. It's just something that happened as a result of me making and taking the time to invest in myself by going there. And so, yeah, you don't know what you're going to get from this, but what I hope you get is I hope you get inspired from the class that at least I'm putting on. I hope you're inspired to be motivated once you leave there to go home and to do something for yourself as far as growing some food, looking at your property a little bit differently, and making some assessments based on some of the things we're going to talk about in the class. So I can't say enough about this community, about the people that I've met, and it's just been awesome. So I want to thank all of you guys.
Well, I know, and I was actually thinking about this early today. I could get in a vehicle and drive cross country, whether I go down towards Texas or I go up on the northern route and over. And I was thinking about this. I know somebody that I've met face to face in every single state because of this whole network. And that's the whole reason I'm going to all 3 of these events this month is yes, I'm getting the word out of homestead medicine. Yes, I want to build my business, but to be honest, I'm going to Kansas next week because I want to be around Tag and Darren and Grumpy and Spags and all the people are going to be there, and Nicole's going to be there, and Tim, Toolman Tim's going to be there. It's all those people that I learn from. That's what excites me. Is I'm going to hopefully to be building money, because I wouldn't be here having this business, having Homestead Medical, if it wasn't for this community. I mean, when everybody started telling me, oh, you should teach, you ought to do this on your own. And then I thought about it, and I was actually sitting around talking. I made a comment to John Willis and a couple other people that were around at his place. And I said, I think I'm going to start a business and do this. And he went, no, you won't. He goes, you're just talking about it. Well, that pissed me off. And I was like, all right, well, I'll show you, which is his Vulcan mind meld thing that he likes to do to people. And it motivated me enough to where I do it. And I'm thankful because now I mold decisions I make. These are the people I call. It's all from this network and this community, because I see the proof of success from all of them. And you're going to see all these same people I just mentioned in Kentucky, except for Tim, who can't make it. But he said he swears up and down he's going to be at the one in the spring. But,
yep, that's what he told me.
We just came home from the Back to the Land Festival, which is the very first homesteading festival that Randy and I ever went to. And this is the 3rd year that they've had it. And it was, they had some phenomenal speakers, but it was like a family reunion. You seriously meet people. The very first festival that we went to, the very first Back to the Land, we went because Billy Bond was going to be there teaching people how to butcher a hog. And we wanted to learn how to do that. When we got home from that festival, one of our hogs was dead in the field. He had impaled himself on a post or whatever. I picked up my phone and I called William, Billy's son, and I was like, we just had this class. I don't have knives. I have no idea what to do. I've got this hog that I can't process for food, and I don't know what to do with it. And he walked us through it. Building community is so important, especially, I live in rural Kentucky, but most of the people around here do traditional farming. It's not like the stuff that Randy and I want to do, like regenerative agriculture, whatever you want to call it, permaculture, whatever. And so when I have questions about things, I need people that I can talk to, that I trust, that are going to, point me in that direction and not set me back 10 years or whatever by doing something wrong. Community is so important. You will meet some of the most awesome people at these festivals that you've ever met in your life. And they're so helpful. They're so, they genuinely care about you, and they want to share what they know, and they're so stinking smart. It blows my mind.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about they want to build community. They want, to be a part of something. And I think that's what we all want. We all want to belong. We all want to associate with the people we want to associate with. And the internet has become a really effective tool for bringing people together to, share ideas and have some common thought. And it's a great tool, but it's not the thing that's going to take any of these relationships to the next level, quite honestly, because until you get a chance to actually press the flesh with somebody and meet them face to face, the relationship is it's on a different level until you're able to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I decided, I'm actually going to go down there and meet some folks, because, I can be this person chiming in on the chats all the time, but nobody really knows who you are until you're there. So I would echo what all of you guys are saying. And the really cool thing about it is that, Nicole talks a lot about the underground network. I saw her do a presentation on the underground network. And that's really what we've built in these types of meetups.
Yep.
Because I can call somebody on the other side of the country and say, hey, what's really going on? You know, because I've got phone numbers of all y'all. And I can say, hey, what's it really going like? This is what I'm hearing is happening in Indiana. But I can call Jake and say, what's really going on, man? What do you see? And they can do the same for me. So that's the value of getting out there, going to these festivals, you know, and yeah, I can't say enough about it.
Well, and people ought to support, you know, you've got your phone in front of you all the time or your computer and you're watching YouTube. Subscribe to these channels. If you watch the videos, take that 0.2 seconds and at least hit the like button. But even better, share it. If it brings value to you, share the videos out. Make a comment, because it does help everybody, because none of us are getting paid to do this. Well, Eric might be now because he's got like, you know, 412,000 subscribers.
He's got 4 million. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because he's so sexy.
Oh yeah, here we go with
that's
that
what it
again.
is. But you know, and the thing is what's cool is when I met Eric, he exploded after that with some of the videos he was doing, and saw that, and people see the value he brings. But it's also Shelly's video she does, Jake when he does some, you know, when you do some. Jason, you know, just learning stuff. And the good thing is any of these people I can call up and ask questions. It gets answered, or Billy, or I can call Spags or Grumpy, Yoda, you know, just everybody, Dean down in Texas, you know, who I talk to very frequently, who just knows everything. But that's the thing. But I can also think you could actually spend money within their businesses, you know, that the people who do things. Dean is an exceptional artist. If you haven't seen his stuff, he'll commission and do a painting and stuff for you, or a drawing. That's amazing. You want a dog? You want a protection dog? You know, we've got Joel, you know, down in Florida, Fortress Canine. We won't even go into the firearms things, how many people we've got, you know, that could teach you firearms, but it's all this different stuff, this community. Like, you know, what Eric just said, we've already developed the underground community. We developed a commerce kind of network also from that. And I really didn't quite think of it in that angle until Eric just mentioned it.
Well, I talked to Eric earlier this year. I don't know if they're selling on eBay anymore, but his wife was selling some stuff on eBay, and he's like, hey, I need help with this. I'm like, call me. I'll walk you through the whole thing. I mean, we talked a few times just over, you know, that dealing. And I mean, you know, if I can help, then I'm going to. I mean, everybody has knowledge of different things. And I think one thing I'll add, everybody's talking about how we go to these events and make all these friends. I'm not a person that's really ever went to an event and talked to people. Honestly, that's why I struggle with the YouTube thing. Like, it's just like, it's a little out of my normal comfort zone. I'm trying to get my son into it. That's how YouTube actually started. But I just want to tell you, like, going to these events, you have to realize, like, you're going with that. I mean, everybody there is probably like-minded or they wouldn't be there. So, I mean, you know, get out of your comfort zone a little. You're never going to grow community by sitting at home, you know, watching videos. Right. You got to go to the event, get out of your comfort zone a little bit and talk to people. I've talked about it on here before, but when I took Grant to the, you know, event, you know, he got out of his comfort zone, and, you know, he had a ton of fun. I mean, I sent him I think Eric had him on his thumbnail for an interview. When we got together and we were talking while we were at an SRF, and I sent it to Grant, and I'm like, look, you know, you're famous. And he's like, am I getting paid for this? Yeah, he's in just, you know, well, you just got to get out and get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of great people, and you're only going to get out what you put in.
Well, and you can also build generations of this. Like, I get excited just with Grant. He came up, you know, to us, and he wanted to learn about something, start telling him. I'll watch his eyes light up. And at first he was real shy, wouldn't talk a lot. And then once he just did one thing, he was there the whole weekend, which I loved. And my own son, who grew up around it was kind of forced upon him. Thankfully, he still likes it and likes hanging out with his dad. But he comes to the events with me. He helps teach me. And I couldn't be more thankful for Chase coming and doing that. Now my grandson and stuff. And it's fun to watch the younger generations of stuff come up when they actually get that bug at an early age. Imagine what they're going to be like and where they're going to be by the time they get to our age. That's kind of what excites me is getting them early prepared, because it's just going to make them better, the family better, the people around them better.
Yeah, their grumpy's on, and Grant definitely likes mashed potatoes.
Yes, he likes the mashed potatoes.
5-gallon bucket of mashed potatoes for that boy. Yeah, and talking about building a community and meeting people and stuff like that. This is our first time doing this event. I mean, it was born and we talked about doing this. This is the first time doing it, and I've had people. I get emails almost every day of people signing up and going to come. Somebody sent me yesterday an email. They're coming from Oklahoma and wanted some more details about it. So people were coming from Oklahoma. Eric's coming from California. Granted, there might not be a lot more people coming from California, but Chuck's coming from West Virginia, where he lives for now. Jake's in Indiana. There's going to be people coming from all around different states. It's not just people in Kentucky. So if you live in Tennessee, don't be like, well, yeah, I'm going to go, but I'm just going to meet people in Kentucky. There's going to be a ton of people from Tennessee there. I can guarantee it. There'll be a lot of people from Ohio.
I know half a dozen people from West Virginia that are going, who contacted me and go, hey, tell me more about this thing in Bowling Green. And I've told, but there's going to be people, you're going to see people from North Carolina, South Carolina. I think you'll see a lot of people. You've got vendors coming up from Florida. So
and we got vendors coming in from Michigan also. Nifty Hoops does hoop houses. They're coming all the way from Michigan. Andy from Little Andy's Homestead will be there from Michigan. Yeah. And of course Kansas. There's going to be a bunch of Kansas hoodlums there.
All those Midwest guys, which I get to hang out with them next week, which I'm excited about.
I'm sorry.
So we're coming up on an hour, and normally we cut these off in an hour, but Eric, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, again, my YouTube channel is Porterhouse and Teal. That's where I'm most active with regard to the homesteading side of things. I do have an Instagram, Porterhouse and Teal as well, but I'm not nearly as active. Same on TikTok. I have one of those. I do have a website, porterhouseandteal.com, where there's more information regarding what we've got going on and what we're doing and how we can be reached. Probably the best way to get a hold of me would be to email porterhouseandteal@gmail.com. And yeah, that's my contacts. Is that what you were looking for, Shelley?
Yeah.
What about the 900 number?
My 900 number.
Do we need to give that out?
No.
Well, look, he's already been, he's already been banned on Facebook for being so damn sexy. So,
Yeah.
All right, Chuck, what about you? Where can they find you?
I've got my YouTube channel. It's under Homestead Medical or under my name, Chuck Peoples. Either one, it'll take you to it. I've got, the Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. What else? What I'm missing? I don't know. One of the other, all the social media stuff. I've got a website. It's homesteadmedical.us. My email would be the best way to get a hold of me, Chuck at homesteadmedical.us. Even my phone number is on the website. No, I don't want calls from you all at 3:00 in the morning because you think it's fun, which now means I'm going to get some. So
it'll be Jason. I'm going to tell you straight up. He'll set his alarm. It'll be Jason.
I know he will. I know he will. Trust me. But I'm here to help you, and I get calls all the time. Nicole, not too long ago, she was sending me pictures of tactical redneck, which everybody here knows. He gashed his head open, so I was doing telemedicine, as I call it, with Nicole to take care of it. And that's just things you do for the community, and that's just another example of this big community that we've built that you can go through and talk to and get advice. And I'm just thrilled to death with this festival, to see Eric, to see all of you all and all the other people that are coming. I'm just really excited because really it's parts of all three of these festivals are all going to be there at the end of October, and that's the last one of all three. And it's going to be it's going to be a great time. I mean, it all starts off next week in Kansas at Midwest Preparedness, and then we go to Self-Reliance Festival, and then end it with Kentucky Sustainable Living.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to get a chance to hang out with you guys again. I'm getting excited for it. It's been kind of off in the distance for quite a while, but now as we're getting into October, it's starting to hit home, and I'm realizing that, hey, I'll be going to be hanging out with you guys soon. So that's pretty cool, but it's also cool to hopefully be able to meet some new people and make some new acquaintances. So I'm looking forward to the folks that I'll meet while I'm down there in Kentucky.
It's getting real now. Jason
Yeah.
and I and Jake were just kind of like, oh my God, it's 4 weeks out. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was actually talking with my son, and I was like, I think I'm going to go down early Thursday morning. I've got my class. I know I don't really need to be there till probably the evening, but I said I'm going to go down and help them out, see what they need, and I just want to get down there.
You just want to come to my shop.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, I do want to come and look at everything you've changed since I've been there last. So, all the stuff that you've added.
Oh, you can help me work on the greenhouse.
I can do that. I'd enjoy it.
So you can find Jason over here at Kentucky Sustainable Living on YouTube, on Facebook. You can email him at KentuckySustainableLiving@gmail.com. You can find, I'm trying to point like the Brady Bunch thing. You can find Jake over here at Dog Creek Farms. He's got a YouTube channel. He's also on Facebook, but does Dog Creek Farms have a Facebook?
Yeah, I don't get on it, but it does.
Okay. You can find.
But if you message me, I'll try to answer you.
All right. And then you can find us at 20crowshomestead.com. That's where you can buy some awesome soap, or, check out that. And you can find us at 20 Crows Homestead on YouTube. If you have questions about the festival, you can contact us through our YouTube channel or anything like that. So the festival is October 28th and 29th at the WKU Ag Expo Center in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Chuck and Eric, their classes are on October 27th. You can find all of the information about those classes at KentuckySustainableLiving.com. We have the most awesome lineup of speakers that you guys won't be disappointed, I promise. The actual festival on Saturday and Sunday is free, so you can come and check all of that out, but be sure to check out their classes and get registered for those. We actually have just a few spaces left, so make sure that you get on there and get registered. Some of the people that are going to be at the festival are Enos Zook, the Bluegrass Trapper. I don't know. He was one of the first people that we interviewed on Festival Friday, and that dude cracks me up. I can't wait to hear him talk. He's so funny. Andy from Andy's Little Homestead is going to be there. Bruce DeVries, who's in the chat tonight. I don't know if he's still on there, but Bruce is going to be teaching about biochar, and he makes the most amazing leather goods that you will ever. Y'all, ladies, if you need a purse, this guy can hook you up. He's got some awesome stuff.
Or guys.
Anyway, we're going to have Darren Strong doing a hog processing and a chicken processing, and he's going to be backed up by Billy Bond from Permapasture. We're going to have Aaron T. Scott. Who else? I'm looking down my list. We've got Darren and Patty. No, sorry. Garen and Angela from Grumpy Acres. They're going to be there talking about food preservation. And Angela, check it out, man. Got my ham and cheese chips. Love these things. They're going to have all their freeze-dried food and all of that stuff. And they've actually expanded their booth a little bit. They've got like some woodworking stuff. They've got some tools. You can get sun ovens from them. You need to check them out.
They just need to bring mashed potatoes.
Really. Like a bucket of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Feed trough.
And then we've got Emily Rock, who's going to do Homestead Dairy. She's going to be teaching you about dairy cows. Chris Frazier is going to be there talking about solar panels and how to put your house just completely off grid. He's really awesome at that. Tina, his wife, is going to be talking about building community along with Tag. Tag is going to be talking about that as well. I know that I'm forgetting people. Bill Stormfeather is going to be talking about the first 30 days. Who else? Jeff Smith, he's the everyday prepper. He's going to be talking about hand tools. And did I say Greg Brand? Greg Brand is going to be there doing pasture management.
Yeah.
I feel like I've forgotten somebody. I'm looking at my list, but I'm not sure. Oh, Jake Drum. He's also going to be doing a talk on medical. His is, I can't think of the name of it. Tactic or something about practical practical, not tactical, I think. Or that's yours. Mine. He's got a witty thing for his too. I can't think of what it is.
Jake's you can learn a lot from Jake. He's got a lot of experience and just a really good guy, and he gives that's a presentation I think everybody will enjoy.
Yeah, he's the first time that I went to SRF, he was there presenting, and I got a lot out of his presentation. He's a good guy. So come check it out, y'all. Get on the website, register for the newsletter. Let us know that you're coming. And I'll just, I'm going to send the newsletter. Go ahead.
Take my class on Sunday too.
Oh yeah. Stop the bleed. You definitely want to get to that class. And aren't you giving them a tourniquet?
So
giving them a tourniquet?
My class on Friday, all the participants are going to be leaving with a kit. I'm not going to say what it is because it's kind of a debut thing. But on Sunday, the emergency trauma class, and it's well beyond Stop the Bleed. This is you're going to get a Stop the Bleed certificate from the American College of Surgeons. I'm an instructor with them, but you're also going to get beyond what that curriculum is. But you're going to go home with a CAT Gen 7 tourniquet, brand new, in the package. But you're taking it out of the package before you leave my presence, because I'm not letting anybody walk anywhere with a tourniquet still in the package and not ready.
And y'all, those tourniquets are actually like just a little under $50. I mean, that you're getting that within the cost of the class. So it's well worth the class or the cost. But that class is on Sunday. So
yeah,
you can register for that through the website. They're all on there. And then Jason, do you want to talk about the dinner?
Yeah, Saturday night, we're doing a charity dinner for Vets for Child Rescue. It's an awesome organization. They help save children and put the pedos in prison. So I want to be nice tonight. But they put the scumbags in jail, hopefully forever. But we're doing a charity dinner for Vets for Child Rescue Saturday night. All our speakers are going to be at the dinner. So if you want to come, give some money to an awesome cause, eat dinner with these two guys will be there. All the speakers will be there, so you'll get time to sit down, have dinner with them. We'll have some wine, stuff like that. And all the money's going to that charity, and that will be Saturday night. And you can buy tickets on the website. It's going to be a small dinner, so go ahead and get tickets as soon as you can, because we will probably sell out of those tickets fast. And also, with Eric and Chuck's class, the seats are limited to where it's a small classroom. So don't wait until the Thursday before to be like, oh, I'm going to buy my ticket. You should buy your tickets now because they will sell out. And I just don't want people saying, oh, man, on Thursday, I wish I'd have bought that ticket. Go ahead and buy your tickets now because if you wait too late, they probably won't be there.
Right.
Hey, one thing I would like to add as well is that if you guys are thinking of coming to the festival and you're just going to be coming to the festival, it's free of charge, go on the website so you can sign up for the email so that Shelly and Jake and Jason have an understanding of who's actually going to be showing up. This is an inaugural event for them, and they're in the planning phases still trying to figure out what the attendance is going to be. So if you're thinking of coming and you've committed to that, please go on the website and sign up for the email so that they can basically help them out with their head count.
Yeah.
Plus all the vendors. How many vendors do you have now?
There's close to 40, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
pretty much, I think we only have like 2 vendor spaces left.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, that's just all the stuff that you're going to get from all the different things you get to see.
Yeah, I mean the vendors just coming. If you don't want to hear any of the speakers, the vendor stuff, you could come and get everything from like Rosie's keto treats to soap to medical supplies to a greenhouse to Bobcat construction equipment to a shed to a storm shelter to custom made knives and wrought iron stuff.
Andrew's going to be there. Combat art training.
Yeah,
His
he's
online
got.
gear.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just if you come just for the vendors and leave without saying, "Hey, I need one of those," you either got everything you need or you're not into preparedness and homesteading.
Is Squatch going to be there?
Yes, Squatch Survival Gear will be there, selling his American-made backpacks. Who else? There's somebody.
I can bring it up if you give me a second.
SB Homestead Radio will be there. They're affiliated with American Contingency, which is essentially so they're a radio community emergency comms.
EMP Shield.
Yeah, EMP Shield will be there.
Yep,
that's huge.
We've got
Bobcat of Bowling Green, Esch's Buildings, Mountain Bear Forge, Joe Morris, Cox Interior, Chicken Coop, Sean Mills, Discount Mylar Bags, the Storm Shelter people, Nifty Hoops, and then we've got S&B Homestead Radios, B2B Farmstead, Squatch Survival Gear, Key Custom Knives, and that guy is bringing his niece, who is an herbalist, and she'll have herbal items for sale, tinctures and stuff like that. Jake Drum will have a booth. Rosie Sweet Spirits, Jeremy McGuire. I can't remember what he has.
He's got the Hot Brass Company.
Okay, all right.
He's selling custom hats, and he takes the hats, and it's got a cutout with brass in the bill. They're freaking awesome hats.
Honeysuckle Farm is going to be there. J&R Designs, Bruce DeVries, he's the leather guy. I'll have a booth set up. EMP Shields, Grumpy Acres, Chuck Peoples, Combat Art Training, Kristen Emery, Sarah Bradford, Brandy and Zach King. I can't remember what they have. Everyday Prepper and something. Let's see. Preserve Liberty Outfitters.
They've got T-shirts. I think concealed carry purses and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stinking vendors. I mean, we've worked hard on getting a big vendor and a diversity of vendors. So it appeals to homesteading and the preparedness aspect of it.
I'm thoroughly impressed with the three of you have put together for a first-time event. Just the people you have coming, the number of vendors, and just the event location. I mean, you all have done an outstanding job, and if nobody's ever been to an event like this before, and they come to yours, they're going to be spoiled. They're going to think, "Oh, this is the way they're all like this." They're not, especially first time.
And the event, everything is inside in a climate-controlled area at the event. So the weather's not going to be a factor. Nobody's like, oh, it's going to be 30 degrees. Hell, you're gonna walk from your car inside. If you can't handle 30 degrees walking from your car inside, you probably don't need to be out of the house personally.
Plenty of parking. I mean, all the amenities are right there. I mean, you won't have any problems.
Yeah. The two things that will be outside, Bobcat will have two pieces of equipment outside, but they're also going to have equipment inside. And then Esch's sheds we're limited on the door size to get sheds in. So they're bringing one of their smaller buildings inside to where we can look at if it's crappy weather. But they're going to have a full size, probably their biggest shed that they offer outside. So you can go out there and look at it. But everything else will be inside.
Hey, is there RV hookups or parking for RVs?
Yes, I forgot to say something about that. So you cannot, it's not full service. It has water and electric, but no sewer. And you cannot have a fire. You can't do a campfire. But we have a limited number. I want to say I know we have at least 20 RV hookups, and you can, on the website, you can reserve those. They're $30 a night, and you can reserve one. And yeah, so bring your travel trailer, whatever, bring it up there, and we'll hook you up.
And they
Hey,
do have showers you can use.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If diesel wasn't like $7 a gallon, I might have drove out. Yeah. It's bad out
Is
here.
that what
Man.
it is in California?
Well, like in LA, gas is like $7. I've seen some signs that say $7, but it's $5.5, $6 a gallon for gas here.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, you know, another awesome thing is the governor just signed a bunch of gun control laws, and
Yeah, I saw that.
you saw that they'll be raising the taxes on top of the taxes that already exist, like 22% for ammo.
It was on guns and ammo, wasn't it?
Yeah, guns and guns and all the parts with guns and ammo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good to have people out of state, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it'd be worth it for you to drive out here and load up and drive back.
Oh, yeah, it's good to know people.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. All right, well, guys, I think I'm going to go eat dinner. I appreciate everybody being on here. Does anybody got anything else to say before we break the internet?
Thank you, everybody, for getting on here tonight. We've got each time we do this, our crowds get a little bit bigger. So share this on your social media. Let everybody know about the festival. Invite your friends. Go register on the website. We can't wait to see you.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you at our festival later on this month. Good night.
See y'all.